Hi, and welcome to Civil Procedure 2. So, I'm your host, Reed Krell. No, I'm the professor. Um, and basically, the idea behind this course is we are going to step beyond the things that you learned in Civil Procedure 1, and we're going to expand on them and advance them. So we'll begin the class by continuing the discussion of subject matter jurisdiction that you finished Civil Procedure 1 with. Then we will move on to choice of law issues, which is an expansion of subject matter jurisdiction. And then, and I see that I have an assistant joining me. This is Lavinia. She is one of 3 assistants who you may meet in this video, but for now, it's just her. So after a choice of law, we will discuss personal jurisdiction. And then we'll discuss venue, which is related to personal jurisdiction. And then we'll discuss a few issues that are sort of small and ancillary. And we'll finish the semester by discussing preclusion, which is once something has been litigated, what are the situations where we can't fight over that anymore? Okay? So, with that, I want to tell you guys about sort of my situation a little bit. My title here at Washburn is a visiting assistant professor, which means that there is an end date to my time here at Washburn. Maybe I will get to stay, maybe I won't. That's sort of outside of the control of any of us. And so, because of that, I am in the process of attempting to figure out where I'm going to be next year and where Lavinia is going to be and my other 2 teaching assistants. So, what that means is that there may be times where I have to travel for job interviews. And my goal is always going to be to schedule that around teaching to minimize the disruption for you. However, if it happens and we have to move classes online, there's a procedure in place to do that, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But the purpose of this video is to do 3 things. First, it's to walk you through the syllabus so that on day 1 we can jump right into the material. It's to talk about some resources that are available to you if you're struggling with this class in particular or with law school more generally. And then finally to talk about some expectations that I have for the class. So with that, I want to transition into talking about the syllabus. And in order to do that, I'm going to show you the syllabus. So, as you can see, this is the syllabus. You can see here's my name. My office is in Dole Hall 227. Office hours for this class are going to be on Thursday mornings, but of course, if that's not convenient for you, just reach out and I'm happy to make an appointment at a time that works for both of us. My office number, you can text me at this number. You can reach me on Blue Sky, and if you would like to join Blue Sky and do not have an invite code, I have several. I am happy to give them out on a first-come, first-served basis. So reach out to me if you would like one. And of course, if you're a Discord user, there is my Discord username. You're welcome to add me as a friend there. So there's some blah, blah, blah here about what the course is. The books. The casebook that we will be using was written by Professor Bahadur of right here at Washburn. And it is a fairly slim book. It is relatively cheap as casebooks go. I think that I saw that it costs about $150 on Amazon, so that's not a great price for a book, but for a case book, I guess we should be happy. The other thing I would like you to buy is a rule book, a Federal Rules of Civil Procedure book. I've listed one published by Michigan from 2022. It's available at the Ichabod shop. There is a 2023 version out from Michigan. Either works, because the amendments to the rules that have been announced in 2023 do not affect the topics that we'll be covering in this class. So the rules aren't changing for the things that we're going to be working on. So the 2022 supplement will get you through this class. Probably the 2023 supplement is better for you, like if you're going to keep it and have that be your rule book at the start of your career. Okay? For attendance, you'll get a D2L code each day. If I don't give you the code, you can assume that attendance doesn't count. You are entitled to miss class 5 times, no questions asked. Once you hit that 5th absence, at any point after that, I may send you, well, it won't be me, it'll be my assistant, will send you an attendance warning that says, hey, you have reached the limit of allowable absences in this class. If you miss any more, you will not be permitted to submit a final. And once that written attendance warning hits your inbox, your next absence will trigger a failing grade in the class. This is not me. This is the American Bar Association. And one of the things that I want to point out to you is that if this is something that is happening to you and you are concerned that you may fail the class, please reach out to me and to Dean Grant so that we can try and figure out a solution for you. Okay? Moving on down, you will note here that some classes may be marked on the syllabus as meeting online. Right now, there's one class that is scheduled for meeting online. I'm going to be at a conference in Chicago in October, and so that class will meet online. When classes meet online, please refer to the syllabus for how that will work. There's going to be a specific process in place. It'll be the same for every class, and we're going to do that. So please look at what the syllabus has to say. There's a masking policy that basically says if I tell you you have to mask, you have to. Caregiving. One of the things that I know is sometimes a problem for students, particularly students at Washburn. A lot of you are second career students or non-traditional students. You have caregiving responsibilities. You might have kids. You might have elder care responsibilities. And I do not want those responsibilities to stand in the way of your legal education. But I also understand that when those caregiving responsibilities have to be a priority, they have to be your first priority. And so in order to accommodate that, I am going to designate, the syllabus says the back rows of student seating. We're going to make it, because the doors aren't always in the back in the new building, we're going to make that the seats close to the doors are going to be reserved for students who have a need to arrive late or to leave early. And that can be caregiving, or it can be a job interview. So if you have a reason where you need to show up late or leave early, just get here when you can, leave when you need to, and sit near the door so that you minimize the disruption for all of us of getting up and walking around. Okay? Grades. The one thing that I want to call to your attention is the DRQs. If you've looked at the casebook, and here, I'll just show you, right? You may note, right, so this is the beginning of our class. This is chapter 12. This is just a whole bunch of questions with nothing for you to draw on to answer them. And that is how this book works. And sometimes it is one of the things that I criticize about this book, but for the most part, I think it's really done effectively. What I am going to ask you to do is whatever the DRQs are that we are going to be working through on a given class day, you will upload those answers to those DRQs on D2L. Okay? And if you don't upload, that counts as a pass. You are saying, I am not prepared for class, do not call on me. And I will respect that. But you only get 5 of those before I penalize your grade. Okay? So, one of the things that I want to talk about, and the syllabus discusses this, I don't know can mean a lot of different things. And so, if I call on you and you don't know the answer, but you think that maybe I could rephrase the question or maybe ask you a different question that lets you build to that one, I want you to answer, I don't know. And I will continue to dialogue with you. If what's happening is you are, exhausted because you've been dealing with preparing for an exam in another class, or dealing with a job interview, or a crying kid all night, and you don't want to participate, just say pass. And I will say, okay, and we'll move on to someone else. But again, you get 5 of those before I start penalizing your grade. Okay? And I say, you get 5 passes altogether. You don't get 5 days where you don't upload and 5 days where I call on you and you say pass. Right? It's 5 passes for the entire semester. Okay? Alright, so there are exams, and they're going to be closed book, and I am not a fan of that. But the bar exam is closed book, at least for now, at least when you're going to be taking it. And one of the things that I am concerned about is making sure that you guys have opportunities to practice bar exam-like questions under bar exam-like conditions. And so I will give you exams that are closed book. And as with all closed book exams, the expectations for what you can produce will be lower because you won't have resources to draw on. But they will be closed book. I don't like them, but they're good practice so that you are set up to succeed on the bar exam. Okay? So that is the syllabus. And with that, I want to talk to you a little bit about resources that you have if you are struggling with this class or with law school more generally. Okay? And those resources start with me. Okay? In particular, if you are struggling in this class, you absolutely can come and talk to me. Okay? If you are concerned about something, if you don't feel like you have a grasp on something, you should come and talk to me. That is part of my job. Very frequently, if you come up to me after class, I will say, can you come to office hours or send me an email? And that's because, very frequently there are things coming in behind us, or I have an appointment that I need to get to that's been scheduled for very soon after class. And so if you come up to me after class and you have a question, if it's simple, if it's easy, if I can explain it in a minute or two, I'm happy to. If it's more complicated, I may say, let's talk about that in office hours or in correspondence. Okay? Um, and that's not out of any desire not to help you, it's just a recognition that there's more to this law school than just you and me, and we have to make sure that we are accommodating everyone in the building. Um, the second resource that's available to you is the Dean Suite. So, I say you can come to me with your questions and concerns, but I also recognize that sometimes you have a question, you have a concern, and you aren't convinced that I'm going to be receptive to it or that I'm going to, um, you know, uh, be happy that you're coming to me with this. And those are what the deans are for. They will pass concerns on to me that need to be passed on. Um, they, help me and other faculty to find solutions to students' concerns when we don't have the resources that we need. And if really what's going on is you just need someone to, you know, nod and make sympathetic noises and pass you tissue, and that happens too, and it's okay. Like, they can do that. And so these are all things that you can make use of with Dean Dempsey Swopes or Dean Grant, and even Dean Jackson if you can catch him. I know he's out of the building a lot, deaning out in the field. But the next resource that's available to you are the academic fellows. So if you forgot what these are a group of students that have been specifically selected to help you succeed um, in law school, right? They're generally students who have done well academically, and their job, right? Their job as academic fellows is to work with students who feel like they're struggling and need help. Um, and if you need to meet with an academic fellow, their office hours are posted outside of Professor Baldwin's office. And speaking of Professor Baldwin, she is also a resource available to you when you are struggling in law school or in this class. Okay? Her job, she is an academic support professor. Her job is to help you succeed in law school. But I will point out, there is only one of her for the entire law school, and so it is possible that she may suggest that if you come to her, that you come to me or to the academic fellows first. Okay? Over on the main campus, there are some resources that are available for you as well. So if you are experiencing food insecurity, there is the Bods Feeding Bods food pantry, to which I have donated, and I know a lot of you have donated as well. I believe there are funds available for students who are experiencing housing insecurity. Uh, the university provides both counseling services and health services, and I can tell you, when I was a law student, I used both. Okay, so I went to the student health center when I was a law student, and that was where I got my uh, meds and my physicals and whatnot. And I had counseling too, because law school is hard, and trying to like power through it alone is hard and is not and very few people are able to do that. If you're one of them, fantastic. If you're not, the counseling center is there for you. There may be other things available to you that I don't know about. Dean Dempsey Swopes can give you a better sense of what's available to you. Okay? And with that, I want to talk a little bit about sort of what I expect the course to be like over the course of the semester. The first thing that I want to talk about is the casebook, right? So, once again, our good old Bahadur casebook. You will hear me criticize this book, okay? You will hear me disagree with it. There are things in here that Professor Bahadur does. There are answers that he devises over in the teaching materials that I have that you guys do not, that I don't necessarily always agree with. Um, that doesn't mean that it's a bad book or that I'm using it against my will, right? I chose this book. And I chose it because the things that I criticize about it, I think are a worthy trade-off for the things that I like about it, right? For the things that it brings to the table that I think are good pedagogically for you guys. And one of the things that the book offers is an active learning paradigm. Okay, so active learning is contrasted with passive learning. So passive learning is where, like, it's very much like what's happening in this video. I tell you the things, and you sort of passively take it in. And it has its place in education, right? Particularly when it comes to just delivering a lot of information all at once very quickly, or studies have shown that passive learning is effective for introducing concepts that alter students' fundamental worldview, right? Because in active learning, right, it's a transition here, in active learning, you are responsible for your own learning. You are doing the work involved with establishing and developing the concepts, which means, going back to passive learning, right, if the concept that is being introduced is one that would fundamentally alter your worldview, then it's not going to be one that you can come up with on your own. It needs to be given to you. But for concepts that can be derived, right, from the materials and from your own minds, active learning, studies have shown, is better for retention and comprehension. So that's what we're trying to do. What this means is that there's going to be times where it feels like I'm not teaching. And in fact, at the end of the semester, you may find yourself writing in your evaluations, we had to teach ourselves everything. And I am here to tell you now, that is the point. That is the goal, okay? Because if that is how things work, if you have engaged the active paradigm, then you will retain more of the material, okay? I sympathize, I do, with those students who want to just have me pour the knowledge into their minds. I sympathize with that because I was that kind of law student too. But one of the things that I have learned since I left law school and since I moved into education is that that's not how brains work. And for you, even though it is more work, active learning is better for you. Okay? The last thing that I want to talk about today is what professionalism is going to look like in this class, because I think that I approach being professional a little bit differently than some folks do, right? For me, professionalism is about the work product that we put out and the attitude of respect toward your colleagues that I have, right? One of the things that I am not really concerned about is what I call professionalism theater. And to me, most of that is ways that folks who don't fit the cultural expectations of those in power are forced to conform to those cultural expectations and abandon their authentic selves. And it's something that I think hits hardest on minoritized individuals, on women, and on first generation and low income students. And I think that we should be building a profession that is welcoming and open and teaches those populations that they belong as part of the profession. And so I will have no truck with the professionalism theater, right? I will be damned if I police myself or you over things that don't affect the work product or the respect that we owe to one another. And that means that, yes, just like a second ago, you may occasionally hear me curse. I may even say fuck. You are welcome to do the same if, in your opinion, the situation calls for it, right? Curse words serve a purpose in the language. And if that is the purpose that you are using them for, then you are welcome to use them. Okay? I also don't care if you show up for class in pajamas, in your interview suit, in an evening gown, whatever makes you feel ready to learn and like $1,000,000, you wear it. Okay? As long as nothing is visible that would make your classmates uncomfortable, dress how you like. Okay? With that, I want to talk a little bit about the respect that we owe one another as colleagues. Okay? Yes, we have to be respectful and civil with one another. And we also recognize that this learning space that we inhabit is made easier for all of us if we welcome lightheartedness together. And so you should feel free to make jokes, to gently and kindly poke fun at one another. Now, let me just sort of be very frank with you guys for a minute. I have been in the past a professor who does not always recognize when students get the joke and when they don't. Okay? So my goal this semester is never to make a joke at your expense, because that's not fair to you given the power dynamics in the class. But that's a change from how I've been in the past, and I may backslide. I probably will backslide. If I do, and if it hurts your feelings or worries you, I want you to be welcome to come and talk to me about it, or to take your concerns to the dean, to the dean suite, so that they can communicate them anonymously. Okay? You deserve to be treated with respect, and part of that respect involves recognizing and understanding the power dynamic in the classroom, where you are concerned because I have some control over whether you succeed or fail in this class and in law school. Now, of course, you are free and welcome to roast me like it's the Friars Club, because that's also part of the power dynamic, right? You are entitled to punch up. And I hope that with one another you will be gentle, but also funny. Let's be funny together. So with that, I hope that the class has successfully been introduced to you. Obviously, You should review the syllabus for the things that I did not go over, some of which are very important, including the course schedule. And if you have any questions about this video or about the syllabus or anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to correspond before classes start. All right, see you guys on Wednesday. Take care.